How's it going, dudes? Merch! The greatest gift upon this beautiful world. Where else can you slap that one guy slash thing on a hat and sell it for $80? But with all of the available merch options out there, sometimes a creator might get a little crazy and attempt something new. An official, branded YouTuber board game. Weird merch idea? Well, when you put it up against the $350 lifelike baby doll and the Dream Baby Picture USB bracelet, it doesn't quite hit as hard. Now, there are two categories of YouTuber board games. The games made by YouTubers on their own, and the games that feature the YouTuber and their channel in the game. We're going to be focusing more on the second group. Those on average are going to be way funnier, plus that one has Vlad and Nikki Blastoff, so you can see why this wasn't really a hard choice. We have a surprisingly large number of games in this genre, so I'm going to have to be moving quickly in order to make time for all the whack crap. So let's go ahead and dive on into the algorithm-friendly world of YouTuber board games. Now, as of recent, there have been a number of YouTuber board games that have been released to both high praise and good success. But you're not here for that. You're here for that weird stuff. You're into that Rhett and Link roleplay, yeah? You freak? As such, we'll do a rapid fire of these bigger games, as they still do need to be mentioned. Surprisingly, all of them coming from the animation scene. The YouTube animator to board game designer pipeline is surprisingly fierce. It'll get you too if you aren't careful. Muffin Time, the ASDF movie card game by Tomska.
Muffin Time is a card game. It's kind of like a sexy horse.
Honestly, yeah, couldn't have said it better myself. A Take That card game, where the whole point of the title is to hit your opponents with painful effects and inflict copious amounts of misery, also known as My Kinda Game. Play various action, trap, and counter cards to affect the amount of cards everyone has in their hand. The first player to start their turn with exactly 10 cards wins. If you've ever played the King's Cup drinking game, it's kinda like that, trying to catch people lacking with rules they might not even know are there, like this one. If you successfully trick another player into saying something in a different language, they discard 3 cards. Is that going to be tough to do? Yes. If you pull it off, will they feel like a complete moron? Oh yeah. Due to this, the game will lose some of its appeal the more you get familiar with it, just like with Exploding Kittens, but the general consensus is that it's a pretty good party game if you don't try to take it too seriously. Fool's Blade by Circle Tunes HD.
Mama fucking me, I'm gonna kill you!
Fool's Blade is an adventure card game that sees you construct various highly effective weaponry to take on monstrous threats. Whoever has the highest loot and card score at the end wins. Fool's Blade still has a lot of take that action, as many of the cards allow you to negatively affect other players, but the main loop is going to be gathering gear and forging your legendary blade. Finest in all the land, they'll never stand a chance against my dull blade. The art style, of course, mirrors the one seen on the channel, and they've clearly put a lot of thought and hard work into this one, as it has the single highest rating out of any of these YouTuber games. Probably because even the box is a sword. I mean, come on! Can't Catch Harry and Cafe Chaos, both by the odd ones out.
You're just a dumb kid who doesn't know what a pedophile is.
These two titles are a little more odd than the rest, as they are not fully original games. Rather, they are retools of existing titles to fit the Odd Ones Out brand. For instance, Can't Catch Harry is mostly just a slightly altered version of the classic family game Spoons. The what? Also known as Capture Candy Castle in the hit card game Candyland: A Child's World of Card Games. Oh! Why didn't you lead with that? Now, retools of existing games are not always a bad thing. After all, me and my group very much enjoy playing one-upmanship, and that shares a lot of similarities with 1963's Stock Market game. So these usually come down to if they make the title unique enough that it offers a different gameplay experience. And it does. The general gameplay loop is similar, but it changes up the win condition, point values, card effects, and adds a ton of very high quality components that really make the game stand out. As with most of these, fans would get a kick out of it for sure. A little odder, though, is Cafe Chaos, as it is not just a retooling, it is a complete rebranding of an already existing game. What the Food is the 2013 title that sees you make grimy food combinations and target players to hit with them. You add splat points to them with every successful hit. Last player standing wins. This description also applies to Cafe Chaos because it is, again, the same game but with that odd 1/out slapped on it. Now, this isn't a stolen idea or anything like that. It is literally just a relaunch of What the Food with a few new improvements and the odd 1/out branding on it. They even had What the Food's original designer come to help out with the upgrade. And it definitely is an upgraded version, as there are more moves, added powers, and overall way better presentation throughout the game. But calling an Ace of Spades here, it is just a rebrand that's been locked behind a Kickstarter. And a confusing Kickstarter at that. I feel like I'm augmenting my pre-order here. Hoard the Hams by Haminations.
Hey Brenner, if you jump off this cliff right now, I'll give you...
Another Take That style game where you play cards to take hams from your opponents while countering their cards to protect your own ham stash. Whoever ends the game with the most hams wins. Sort of a similar concept to Muffin Time, but with a more standard win condition and more reserved card effects, which depending on your taste could either be a positive or a negative. The simpler gameplay and effects would definitely make this a better title for kids as well, indicated by the game's lower age rating. They've also had another game recently get funded called Bull Shark, which looks to be a retooled version of BS. Looks like fun, but it hasn't actually managed to release yet, so I might have just jinxed it. Sorry everybody, my bad. And last from our animators, we've got Cyanide and Happiness, who at this point have basically become an entire board game company on the side. Their collection of titles include Joking Hazard, a Cards Against Humanity style comedy comic builder based off of the group's random comic generator. Joking Hazard deck enhancements 1, 2, 3, and 4 for extra cards. Joking Hazard Blast from the Past expansion adding extra history-related cards. Toking Hazard expansion adding weed-related cards. The Joking Hazard Enlarged Box, which is literally just a box to hold all of the expansion cards. And the Stroking Hazard expansion adding a bunch of sexy-themed cards and an official collaboration with Are You Serious? Really didn't think we were going to top the Hustler magazine board game collab, and yet here we are, working with the hub! There is also Trial by Trolley, where various individuals find themselves on one of two tracks, and you try to convince the conductor why they should run over the other team's side. Master Dater and its Uncut expansion, where you attempt to build the perfect date to match your friends' questionable preferences, and Texas Hold It, a game where you compete against your friends to not get wet at the Wild West urinal. If these themes seem a little bit out there, well, they're made by the same guys that made this.
Nature!
So honestly, I'm surprised that they restrain themselves this much. They also have two other wiener-themed games, but they don't feature any of the channel themes, so they don't count for this group. I have to have some rules around here after all, or else anything will go. Famous YouTuber Guy Fieri? But before we go any further, what would a YouTuber board game video be without a sponsor board game to go along with it? Hand me Allstar. Allstar is the fantastic tile-based miniature warfare game that allows you to pick a faction and use their unique traits to atomize your friends. As an example of how fun the game is, my friend got slaughtered in our 6-player game and had such a good time that he asked to play again. So we ran a 1v1 later that I ended up winning by 1 point. It was a battle and it was a blast. The best part of the game has to be the factions. Each one comes with its own unique ship design and, more importantly, unique power sets. So every time you play, you can pick a brand new one and have an entirely different game. Big fan of the Red Dragons here. They take the ships they beat hostage and force the other players to pay you to get them back. I love extortion! With all of the upgrades, scouting, and setups you can go for, this bad boy has an abundance of replayability, and is definitely one of my favorite games that I've played in the last year. Heck, I liked it so much that I set up and played a game against myself, not even to lab, I just wanted to. Allstar is nearing the end of their stock, so if you want to get in on this hot ship-blasting action for yourself, now is the time to do it. Head to the link below to see if it's up your alley and use my code to make sure you get the best price. Stake your claim to the nation of Allstar today. Thank you again to Allstar for sponsoring this video. Now let's get back to the other tubers to see what games they'll be promoting today. With the animators now behind us, we enter a much stranger area of YouTuber board games. Because making a board game themed around an animated channel has a few advantages. You've already got the art direction down, you can utilize the characters in whatever way you want, and most of the time it's much easier to market this to parents than, "Oh Dad, look, it's the Nasty Nathaniel board game. Can we get it, Dad, please?" You're joining the football team. As a result, the structure of these games is about to get a lot more weird. For example, Good Mythical Morning, nice Cards Against Humanity. Bet you never heard that combo of words before. Rhett and Link's We're Still Good game. It sounds like they're trying to convince me. We're Still Good is a party game where players fill in the blanks in order to create the funniest disaster, before then trying to spin that winning disaster in a positive way to gain more points. First to get the required point total wins. Yes, we are indeed looking at another fill in the blank with a funny card, but this time it's with a unique twist game, just like when it was with crude cards, with memes, with connectors, with charades, with battles, and now with positivity. That doesn't automatically mean that the game is bad, but that does mean that you automatically already know what the heck is going on here. The only thing that sets this one apart from the others is the We're Still Good section, as after you decide on what the funny disaster is, you will need to write out your own spin as to why that event actually isn't all too bad. Like the example on the back of the box here. You asked the tattoo artist to surprise you, and now you are stuck with a tattoo of your brother's wife. Well, that stinks, but we're still good because now I'll never forget her face. See, it all worked out. We're good. Nothing hurt. What? That part could be interesting if you're a fan of writing your own stuff in games. Personally, I'm more of a use what the game gives you guy, but a lot of people seem to enjoy how uplifting this one is compared to the admittedly pretty nasty games that make up the genre today. But again, I wouldn't expect this one to surprise you too much outside of its one major change, as you've seen this game pop up quite a lot in the last couple of years. Another thing some of my more troublesome viewers might have seen is Detention. Well, let's learn you how to get up on out of there with the Rebecca Zamolo Detention Escape board game. No freaking way! The Among Us in real life lady? Sus. Oh, this is gonna be a good one. The Rebecca Zamolo Detention Escape board game sees you and your friends all trapped in detention, and tasks you with finding the item that got you in trouble along with the teacher that caught you. First player to do this while avoiding the principal escapes detention. Okay, firstly, the way that the box opens up into the board is cool. I like that. Had to get that one off my chest. The Rebecca Zamolo Detention Escape board game shares a lot of similarities with Clue. It has a similar board and movement structure. You go into rooms to uncover items, and you use the things you find to gain more info. Looking a little Cluey for sure. But it does change a few things to set itself apart, and the changes that it goes for are quite interesting. Firstly, you aren't trying to piece together a mystery, you are just trying to find your item and teacher. So this is more of a simple memory game than your average Clue. The simplification does make sense though, as this game is tailored to an even younger audience than Clue is. So when you put it up against the other games in its age bracket, this thing is basically Gloomhaven. Another change is the addition of the principal, as while looking for your stuff, if you accidentally find him, then you will be sent back to detention, and will need to complete a physical challenge before you get back to your search. These are all simple stuff like cup and ball toss, flick football, and baby's first beer pong, but this roadblock element adds a bit of danger to your search that the normal Clue doesn't really have. You'll have to pay attention or you could get set back pretty hard. The biggest change by far, though, is the clock in the middle here. At certain points in the game, the school period will end and the clock will turn. And as it does, it will shift all of the items from their current positions to new areas. So you will need to try to guess where the one you wanted went. Wait a second. That's kinda cool. Aw, is this game good? That is actually a really good idea. Shifting the positions of the clues mid-game? That sounds awesome. And yeah, being able to predict where they go will be pretty easy for older players, but that 4 to 8 range? They're gonna feel like these have moved completely at random. As soon as that clock turns, it's a completely different game for them. This could actually legitimately help kids learn how to analyze a situation and predict what happens next from that knowledge. This isn't a good kids game, it's a great kids game. Actually, you wanna know who I'm mad at? I'm mad at Hasbro. Where is all of this in Clue? A dangerous figure lurking around the scene that can cause a setback if found? Shifting clues to mess up player strategy? This is golden stuff here. How did your entire corporation get out-innovated by the what happens after death emotional lady? Get it together, man! Next up, Dan and Phil's Truth Bombs.
Hide your boyfriends and set your ovens to 200.
Because we're making femboy banana bread.
Dan and Phil's Truth Bombs is a party game where you pass around a pad for each person in your group and anonymously give out answers to questions about each person. Those answers are then read out loud, and each target picks their favorite answer and tries to guess who wrote it for extra points. Fun fact, in 5 years of having the game, I had no idea it was made by a YouTuber. That's right, you might own a YouTuber board game and have no idea. Which of your board games can you really trust? Yes, for some reason during the game's lifespan, Big Potato Games would drop the Dan and Phil branding and reduce it to just Truth Bombs, which is what this copy here is. Even later, they would completely rebrand the game into a Mean Girls Burn Book party game like with what happened with What the Food. The big difference being that Big Potato doesn't sell any of these versions anymore, so if you want one, you'll have to get it secondhand. And that stinks. I'm not the biggest fan of Truth Bombs, but it is a serviceable party game with a unique loop. A lot of people have had fun with this one, you know, up until somebody gets mad at one of the answers and quits. That's why I'm not too big on games like this. They don't create the fun mad, they make people for real mad. But to be fair, that's not entirely the game's fault. After all, you're the one writing the answers. A couple of days ago, I asked you if you knew what time it is, and a majority of you did not, and sorry to say, but you never will. Yesterday, I asked you the board game by Jack's Films.
Mimi, big boy, Mimi, big boy. Mimi, big boy.
Yai the board game is the party game that describes itself as Cards Against Humanity for people who are actually funny. Name dropping the sucker, huh? That's a bold play. In it, players will roll the die to see what category they will be judging, while the other players use their Yite boards to write or draw their answer. Funniest one wins the point. Insert fill-in-the-blank party game win condition here. The shtick from this one is that you use whiteboards to answer questions from a couple of different categories. There's fill-in-the-blank, use 4 words or less, write a Twitter bio, finish a poem, make up a fake fact, and draw out your answer. Quite a few options on offer. I'd say that the most interesting categories, though, are the ones that lean into the YouTube space itself. Like questions specifically revolving around the site and the content that is found on there, and my favorite category by far, make a clickbait YouTube title for a very mundane event. Man, work is stressing me out right now. Late-stage capitalism is causing my dystopian mental health crisis gone nocturnal? There is also the very striking Yai wheel that you can spin to select your category, which really helps the game stand out as well. And believe it or not, none of these best bits come with the base game. They are all locked away in the expansion. Honestly, if all of the best parts are in the $50 expansion, might not even bother with the base version. Doesn't really matter where they are anymore though, as this thing has been sold out for a good while now. So if you ever want some of that hot Yai action, you're gonna either need to cough it up for a secondhand or slide into Tabletop Sim and do it without the wheel. No Yai wheel? Nothing left for me here. Hunt a Killer x Sam and Colby, The Haunting at Wicker Ridge.
That's right?
Bro, left.
The one. Yes, keep going that way. We'll see you later.
Homie, there was One Direction.
One Direction.
That's my favorite band!
Hunt a Killer x Sam and Colby, The Haunting at Wicker Ridge sees you attempt to help the paranormal investigator duo in their mission to banish a demon from the Wicker Ridge house. Solve the mystery and survive the haunting to keep you and your team safe. This game being a hunt-a-killer title makes it by far one of the most unique games on this list, as these are more story-oriented games that feature a mystery that you are meant to try to solve either by yourself or with friends over multiple hours. Sort of like one of those murder mystery dinners, except everyone is working together using the physical evidence that the game provides. Way different than what we've been looking at so far. Of course, the negative for a game like this is that the replayability is basically zero unless you give it to an entirely separate group after. But it's meant to be more of a one-time event that you base the night around anyway, so I can't fault it any more than I could an escape room. Their decision to make this an easy adventure makes a lot of sense, as this could very well be many of these two's fans' first attempt at one of these, and I see this whole situation as similar to the Scooter's Coffee Candyland crossover. A bit odd, but they kind of fit together. Plus, if I get this, I can get over 10 minutes of exclusive Sam and Colby footage?
Secret videos that you're only gonna see if you get this game. Guys, we went hard for this game.
Confound it, I'm trying to get this up to movie length, but I can only afford 3 copies. Up next, it's a title from the most popular YouTubers on the list, Vlad and Nikki Blastoff Game. That has 1.1 billion views. That'll get you your own game. Vlad and Nikki Blastoff Game sees you crash land your spaceship and try to regain all the parts that were taken by aliens. Watch out for wormholes in those alien antics. Whoever can take off first in their fully repaired ship wins. This one is very simple. Shocking considering the demographic, I know. You just spin the spinner and move around trying to collect all your pieces before the others can. If you hit one of these alien spaces, you'll have to draw an alien antics card, which could force you to do a little dance or something along those lines. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Happy hunting! My favorite part of this one is probably how the board cuts off half of these spaces because they're too close to the edge. Stellar craftsmanship there, guys. Really did a number on the QA. You can't be too hard on them. The team just probably had their hands full sorting out that whole advertising guidelines violation. We'll let this one slide. Be aware when playing the game, though, that only the winners get to ride back home with Vlad and Nikki, so if you aren't part of that group, then I recommend just giving up. There's no real reason to go on. Aw yeah, baby, time to bring this one back. It's Monopoly Scott the Woz edition.
Hey y'all, Scott here. I'm on life support now. No reason, just felt like it.
Yes, you heard that right. It is the official, licensed by Hasbro, Monopoly Scott the Woz edition. It is quite literally board game Scott the Woz. I cannot express to you how absolutely absurd this collaboration is. Most of the games we've looked at have been reimaginings of other games or their own unique thing. This, meanwhile, is a video game YouTuber getting an official variation of the single best-selling branded board game on Earth. Entire cities have been unable to do that. Brother, Scott the Woz is officially more relevant than Oakland. This was a limited release piece to coincide with his 2021 charity bonanza, where all of the profits from the 5,000 produced copies would go to the Critical Care Comics and Children's Miracle Network Hospitals charities. And it worked so well that the very next year, they decided to just do it again! Introducing the officially licensed Clue Scott the Woz edition. Might end up getting me to try Clue again. This one is based specifically on The Great Mysteries of Gaming video, a Halloween special where they try to solve a murder mystery, so I think I can start to piece together what these two might have in common. The color blue! Overall, two really neat opportunities for Scott to work with Hasbro, and they both went toward a good cause. Plus, these are both just really cool for fans of the show. Wow, now I really want a copy. Say, where can I get one? Absolutely freaking nowhere. Like I said, these were limited edition releases. Only 5,000 copies of Monopoly and 7,500 copies of Clue were made. So if you didn't get your grimy fingers on them when they went up, tough tots, buddy, to the resale market with you. The only way you're getting a copy of this nowadays is by paying double, triple, and sometimes even 4 times what it was originally sold for. And the Clue version's somehow even worse. Oh, I love the resale market, it's so convenient. But I mean, I can't be too mad at the resale market. I mean, nothing's perfect. That is, unless you're Dude Perfect. Dude Perfect's games mainly specialize in small little action titles that you could play at like a family gathering to prevent your cousins from eating the curtains or something. I'll show you a couple so you can see what I mean. Dude Perfect Sticky Tac-Toe, a version of tic-tac-toe where you have to bounce your Dude Perfect ping pong balls onto the Dude Perfect sticky game board. 3 in a row wins. Yeah, it is just tic-tac-toe, but it has that bouncing stick action that is not easily replicable unless you're willing to lose a couple ping pong balls to some rat traps. Plus, it adds a small dexterity element to tic-tac-toe. Cool. Dude Perfect Sling Puck with built-in checkerboard and Wheel of Consequences. Pull the pucks back with the band and release them to try to get them all on your opponent's side. Comes with checkerboard if you'd rather play that, as well as a Wheel of Consequences to determine the loser's punishment. I mean, it's just Sling Puck, you can get this from pretty much anywhere, but with it also coming with different difficulty levels, its own checkerboard, and a spinnable dry erase wheel for pretty much the same price as the other boards themselves, it's kind of a good deal. And Dude Perfect Tabletop Roll Game. Roll your Dude Perfect ping pong balls down the table and up the Dude Perfect ramps to make it into the hoops. Smaller hoops are worth more. So obviously the production is here, what with these being ramps that you can clip onto the table and the nets and everything. But the production is also there on the rock, paper, scissors game. As you can see, I've achieved a similar effect by taping some cups to the table, which is legitimately something that we've done at a previous family Christmas. But these are all small potatoes when compared to the main prize, as through my adventures in the aisles of Target, one game has continued to glare at me from the shelves, the official Dude Perfect board game. And it's finally within my grasp. So with this being the 4th board game acquired from Target, let's see how it stacks up not only as a YouTuber board game, but also against the other Target titles. Starting off, the game looks awesome. Bright colors, great component quality, and a massive spinning platform in the middle that operates as a golf green, a basketball hoop, and an upright for field goals. They've got the presentation down. You look at this and you think, dang, we're about to have a bout here. I could see this at an illegal gambling hall. Unfortunately for the everything else, the looks are the best part of the game. What you are supposed to do is move around the board collecting cards with the hope of getting 3 of a kind so you can turn them in for a golden boy. First person to get 4 golden boys wins. There are other cards that have specialty effects, and each space on the board carries its own effect too, but all you really need to know about this one is 1, how short it is, and 2, how much you get to even play the sports. This game is over extremely quickly. There are an abundance of ways to gain cards and also multiple ways to get golden boys without them. So just as you are starting to get some semblance of strategy put together, the game is already over. For example, in the first game of this we ran, only 1 player was able to get back around to the starting space before the game was over, and he was only able to do that because the wheel sent him there. This wouldn't be too bad if you were able to get a lot of sporting action into these games, but due to the structure of the board, this middle turntable is likely going to go untouched. The only way to launch a 1v1 sporting challenge is to land on one of the battle spaces, of which there are only 4 on this 36 space board. On any trip around the board, you only have an 11% chance to get to play any of the sports. And since the game is so short, that's likely going to be an 11% chance per game. I don't understand why they made these spaces so rare. This is the main selling point of the title, and all of the challenges are really fun to do. If you have a really cool part of your game, you should make it to where people can enjoy that part of your game. But I'm not giving this title fair enough treatment. After all, this isn't the standard edition of the Dude Perfect board game. It's the Dude Perfect board game plus the soccer expansion pack. I'm all in when it comes to the dudes. Fun fact, the expansion is also sold as its own product, and it's cheaper to buy these two separate than it is buying them together. Wish I knew that earlier. The soccer expansion adds the Panda to your playable roster, as well as another sporting challenge with the PK Shootout, giving you an extra battle space that you can add to the board. Oh sweet, with all of these additions, the game must certainly be better, right? No! The soccer game is terrible. The launcher does not work in a satisfying way like the Flicker does, and you are going to need to choose between taking a fast shot with no control or a slow shot that you can aim. Either way, that ball ain't going in. This is not helped by the fact that the balls have this massive effing bump on them from assembly that screws up the trajectory of the shot as well. This is not fun to do. Plus, it doesn't even help your odds of getting into a battle, as the rules state that you need to cover up an existing battle space with the new one. So you're either losing a spot for one of the good sport games, or you're losing the one that lets you choose any of the three. Either way, still 11%. The Panda's cool, great addition to the roster. Other than that, I think the expansion makes the game worse. This is a really cool idea with some really cool components and has done a great job of implementing trick shots into a board game, but it just does not live up to the potential. It was right there! That doesn't mean it's all bad though, just not as good as it could have been. So in terms of where it ranks among the other Target board games, I think it'll slot in right behind Quarter Life Crisis. And depending on who you ask, it could even take first. Welcome to the club, you're bumping shoulders with some good company here. If all else fails, you could just have the kids sit around the table and take the trick shots too. You don't even really need the game. This part is that good. Jury is still out though on if it's even lawful to expose kids of such a young age to golf. Tyler might be in a lot of trouble here. To finish off our little adventure, we'll be looking into the rising stars of a fresh new genre within the scene, the various attempts at VTuber card games. I know that a bunch of them are on Twitch and other platforms, but since the terminology is apparently short for virtual YouTuber, I will just be counting them all here. Starting us off, it's the official HoloLive trading card game. See, more groups need to do this. Where's my Yogscast trading card game? I want to run my Simon Stall deck. The HoloLive trading card game sees you build a deck to utilize your Oshi HoloMems and your regular HoloMems to take on your opponent. Cheer on your performers to unleash devastating moves and rule the stage. I am trying my very best here. In addition to me being a complete outsider to this, trading card games are way harder to quickly figure out than board games are. Imagine trying to learn Yu-Gi-Oh! Right now, having never seen the game before. Luckily for me, this one seems to operate on a similar system to the Pokemon trading card game, where energy is required to launch attacks at your opponent's mems. So if you've ever played that one before, you might be able to slide into this one relatively painlessly. It is a very new game, with the first set only having come out in July. So we'll need to wait and see if this one continues on, or if it ends up like the other TCGs I've covered. Based on what we learned from those, I'd stay away from including a Twin Towers card. We're 0 for 2 on games with that one. I guess for good luck, I should probably pick one of them to be our deck leader. You know what? I think I'm gonna go with the rat. Yeah, the rat with the what's up gambling attack. Yeah, we march under the Bales flag. Hey, me, put up a clip of her and see if I made the right choice, will ya?
But then when you add sauce onto it, does it become like a main course? How does that work? Fuck you.
But if an original creation isn't your speed, how's about a tie-in instead? Oh gosh, freaking German. I'm gonna biff it again. Weiss is the Japanese CCG best known for having a collaboration with a frankly obscene amount of IPs, including Sword Art Online, Persona 5, Attack on Titan, Batman Ninja, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Adventure Time, Love is War, Marvel Comics, Fate/Zero, various Pixar franchises, that Nikkei mobile game that I'm not doing a sponsor for, stop asking, Marvel movies, the girl from the Sonic Racing game, effing Disney, and for the purposes of this video, the entire HoloLive cast and crew. Heck, they might even have some of the accountants in there. Weiss has released no less than 12 sets featuring the HoloLive cast. They are one of the most prevalent groups in the entire game. Such sets on offer include trial decks carrying a chance to include a hot stamped autographed card, a premium booster featuring a ton of new faces including our Rat Commander, a trial deck specifically featuring the gamers of the group, 2 booster packs featuring the new Climax Rare cards, which feature the girls in more compromising positions. No, Japan, not now! A full set featuring the Schwartz Ambassadors, and the HoloLive Production Summer Collection, which features everybody in swimsuits for some reason. Gee, I wonder why. As you can tell, all of this isn't really too much my cup of tea. You know, the whole thing is just a little Wait, is that the shark girl from the Dodgers game? Yeah, Gawr Gura. I remember that. You know, after she showed up on screen, the Dodgers scored 4 runs unanswered and won. She actively cost the Brewers that game. Get sharked on, Milwaukee. But if that last booster pack was more your cup of tea, then oh boy, do I have the product for you. Dropping all pretenses and just leaning straight into it, we've got VCard, the horniest creator collab TCG on the market. Unless I'm missing one that's down even worse, in which case, God help us all. VCard is the 2025 creator card game brought to you by GamerSupps, where you attempt to play a game while dozens of Dobon Honkeros stare up at you from the playmat. There is a functional card game in here somewhere, but I doubt that's why you're here. I saved VCard for the end as, 1, I mean, where else am I gonna put something this gratuitous, and 2, it is certainly interesting enough to earn the spot. Because not only is the creator list the wildest one we've seen so far, but it meets the requirements for holding the ending spot, as at the start of its lifespan, it had some frankly terrible ideas. But firstly, let's see that lineup. You'll notice that I've been saying creator every time I bring up the cast and not VTuber like the other ones. And that's because while the big-boobed VTuber women are what GamerSupps wants to shove in your face the most, they are not the only ones here and big-boobed. For instance, you ever seen Meat Canyon portrayed as a woman with massive jugs on a souped-up truck? Did you ever want to see that? I didn't hear you, so here you go! That is not the weirdest thing in here. Other additions to our endgame style crossover include Cyanide and Happiness portrayed as Cyanide-chan and Happiness-chan, Female Smitty holding 2 big bags of milk, Buff Swagger Souls drinking a beer from his own helmet mug, the Russian Badger downing an entire canister of gasoline, Connor Dog hitting a signature Joe pose, Jay Schlatt channeling his inner Shepherd of Fire, Female Moist Critical wearing what cannot legally be called a shirt, and, of course, BB No Money coming out of your toilet. No game is complete without it. There are, of course, more people involved, like Heavenly Father, Demon Dice, and my favorite cards, the Bricky Bricks. But what about the actual game itself? How do you play this bad boy if you want to run around? Well, it's pretty simple. Each well-endowed creator card comes with a certain amount of power, and you want to use effects, items, and upgrades in order to bolster your warrior before combat starts. Whoever wins the combat wins the round. Whoever wins 3 rounds wins the game. Easy, breezy, beautiful, cover girl, sounds like a blast. Well, that's because those are the updated rules, the new ones with all of the kinks worked out. The original rules, however, were not quite as simple or intuitive, as if you couldn't tell by the artwork, there were a lot of kinks here. For instance, the new game has you constantly draw new opening hands until you manage to get a PL8 card, which you need to start the game. Generous. In the original, you got 1 mulligan per game, and if you didn't draw one after, you would instantly lose the round. Meaning that if you got really unlucky, you could just lose the entire game before you even got to play. Well, to prevent this from happening, you might just want to add as many PL8s to your deck as possible, which you could absolutely do because there was no maximum number of cards that you could put in one deck. The Yu-Gi-Oh picture, please. Did we learn nothing? But hey, it's all in good fun though, right? Sure, it's a little wonky, but there isn't anything at stake here, so it's all good. We're still good. No, it's not all in good fun there, buddy boy, because when you're playing VCard, you're playing for keeps. Introducing the prize pool mechanic, which I will be showing off with Yu-Gi-Oh cards, as every single card on this site has been sold out for months. I never stood a chance. I could still get this fabulous shirt to wear to the family reunion though, you know, unless I'm size 6XL, those got snatched up just as quick apparently. How the prize pool mechanic works is this. Over the course of the game, you will play cards in order to try to win. The played cards going into your discard pile after being used. If you manage to win the round, then your cards will stay where they are, in the discard pile. But if you lost that round, then every card that you played during that round will be sent to the prize pool. Play continues with more cards being added by the loser of each round, and once the winner of the game is determined, he will take every single card in the prize pool because they are his now. You no longer have any legal claim to those cards. Tough luck, buddy boy. Hope you didn't have any important cards in your main deck. V-card here might be costing you 10 to 20 cards every time you play. It is theoretically possible to lose your entire deck in one game. Oh, hey, how did the games go? Pretty good. I wanted to try out a new engine, but I lost the BB No Money toilet card early, so the whole deck broke and I got cleaned out. I can still activate my credit card, though. After they got absolutely melted from people pointing out how obtuse the gameplay was for this one, they went back to the drawing board and tuned up all the garbage so that the game now properly functions. So now you can play those meat cannons all that you want without having to worry about them being taken from you. Stevie Blunder does a pretty great job of showcasing the issues with the game's launch in his video, so I'll link that down below if you'd like to see more. As for us though, I think that will cap off our look into the world of YouTuber board games. Now all we have to do is wait until I release my own board game, Asphalt Action. Comes with 6 pawns, 2 dice, and 45 pounds of binder hot mix asphalt. Limited production of 15 copies at this specific target location for the next 42 hours, so get yours today. Signing off for bringing glory to our rat commander, I am KamSandwich. Thank you for watching and have a fantastic day. A special thank you to my suppliers, staff, and chefs over at the deli, as well as the media preservers helping me get these rare games ported for the public to enjoy. If you'd like to join the crew, you can take a look using the link in the description below.